3 years in the University of Ghana, I had to leave and go to the University of Cape Coast, where this professor's brother was the head of department in the French study, who had been my professor before. At the interview, he asked me whether he should ask his brother's permission before he admits me to the program. Can you imagine that? Will that happen in the United States? I said yes. And I had to fake some reasons. I had to tell him that I had all kinds of social problems, and now I'm saying the truth, because I don't really have any social problem. The social problem I had was the professor who just kicked me out like that for no real reason. All right, and so I began the program again, picked it all over again in the University of Cape Coast. Nearly 5 years I was there, and the professor I'm talking about, who his brother, handled me at the University of Ghana, flunked me in one of his papers. He has to confirm his brother's thesis. Oh, this man is not good. His French is not very good. All right? He's not intelligent. He's not brilliant. All right? Okay. I finally made up the exam, and there was a different professor who was my supervisor then. And so this professor, kept my first chapter in his desk for 6 months. He never looked at it. I taught his child French for free in hopes that he would, have sympathy and kind of grade this paper or the chapter, because I needed my theoretical framework in order to advance in my research. It was sitting in his desk. I began to look around and say, no, I think I'll have to look outside. Thankfully, I have a cousin who is a veterinarian here in the United States, married to a Czech woman or Yugoslavian woman. And he came home to visit his family and said, oh, are you still on this program? How many years now, And he said he knew somebody who was at Purdue, and the person said that Purdue had a very good program in foreign languages. So I said, okay, let me have the forms. So he parceled the forms home, and I completed them and sent them back in. All the backups I needed were out there with Purdue. The only thing, again, was I didn't have the money to do TOEFL, to pay for TOEFL. And so for that reason, it took me a longer time even to get to Purdue. But eventually, I did a project with a very renowned professor in the University of Ghana called Professor Anyidoho. I coordinated a program for him in the neighboring Republic of Benin, because they speak French there, and I was into French. So it was resources from that project that paid for my TOEFL. And as soon as they got the TOEFL results, qualifying results, I was called to come in here. So I had to come in the spring. Normally they would admit people in the fall, where the teaching assistant should, but they had held that position for me for so long. So they allowed me to come in the spring of 1998 to begin in 1999. And that's how I got here. It has been wonderful. All the difficulties that I faced in my own country, it's like I came here, it was like heaven on earth. Oh yeah, because it was the reverse of what I went through. Because I got all the support I needed at Purdue. My professors were great and terrific. All right, and so for me, it was like I felt like I was a thirsty person in the desert who has found a little oasis of water, and I wanted to drink everything. So I started, apart from the master's degree that I did, and I tried to expand my area, because in languages you want to cover all the terrain, and so. And in cultural, multicultural studies, you want to cover several areas. So I had to do the PhD. The main area was the foreign language education with French as the focus, language of focus. And then I did language and literacy education as a minor in the PhD. And I went beyond and did multicultural studies. I also did English as a second language. That's why I have to teach English here to our international students. I'm able to teach our international students academic English, how you can succeed, you can write to succeed in an American college setting. Yeah, so that is generally who I have been, and I am very excited that the United States has given me the opportunity to be able to realize the dream that my daddy, the vision that my daddy first put in me, and because of certain situations coming in, contributory factors like missionaries, intervention here and there, I was able to carry on and to this point. Very few, there's nobody like me from my family, nobody. Talk about a even a master's degree. The second one is now, the second individual from our family, I mean our lineage, is now doing his master's. There's nobody. It's very difficult to understand. People will never understand how hard it is to come from such deprived communities and to go through education all along. And these universities were sited in the south. You have to travel all the way to the south to go to the university. And you needed resources. You needed support. It's very difficult for the peasants from the northern part of Ghana to be able to send their children to school and to see that they go through to this point. And so I'm so grateful that I where I am, and whatever I can do to advance the cause of the United States of America, I'm willing to do that. I've said that to different people. I'm here for that. My goal is to leave something, to be able to transform the minds of our young people, wherever they are, from whatever gender, so that they would get to have a better perspective, a better view of the world, and so that they see that, they really have everything they need to be able to change the world. They have everything they need to be able to transform the world. All right? They have everything they need to be producers rather than just consumers. In recent times, America has tended to be consumerist and all of that, but they need to understand that they can be producers. All right? And I see myself as an agent of that transformation in the minds of young Americans and old Americans alike. Yeah, so I'm very grateful to the United States, very grateful to our college for having given, especially Professor Sue Holm, who was the person who interviewed me. It was a part-time job to begin with. And it was a beautiful conversation we had, and they got me here on a part-time basis. And gradually I'm moving, and just like my history, I'm moving gradually somewhere. I don't know where I will end, but I see progress in my development here. And I'm very grateful to the college for that. Yeah, I'm very grateful to the college for that.
Well, great.